Hey, all right, I'm back. We are going to do a purple and gold set of nails with some Beachy bling on them today. So sit back and let me show you how I did this. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 nails. Everything has been already base coated and ready to go. I'm going to take the thumb, middle, and pinky finger, and I am going to put very, very thin layers of Madame Glam's Frosted Lavender on these. I'm going to do 2 layers. I'm going to cure in between. And as you can see, I use a palette. I put a little bit of polish on my palette, and then I use a different brush to put my polish on. I find that for me, I don't get as thick of a layer that way. I don't get as crinkling. And I know that my gel polish is actually being cured. So that's my process. If you can do it better, that's great. Oh, and I love that little square reflective nail holder I've got there. I got that from Amazon for like $8. It comes with 10 nail things and that little square plate. It's so much easier to keep my nails separate, especially when I'm doing different nails like I am in this manicure. So when those pop out, we will go ahead and do the second layer of the Frosted Lavender. And it was just after I did this video that I saw the video on YouTube, and I can't remember the creator, but who finally got the SDS from Madame Glam and shows that they are not quite as hypoallergenic as they claim to be. So this will be probably my last set of nails with Madame Glam. I'm looking for another provider of polish that is HEMA-free, TPO-free, hypoallergenic, all of the good things, because although I don't have a gel allergy, I don't want to develop one, and I don't want to give one to anybody either. So that being said, we're popping those back in there for the second layer. Okay, now we're going to do the other 2, the ring finger and the index finger, and I am still using a Madame Glam. This is Winter Whisper, and it is a very, very, very pale pink. I'm putting it down because I like to use a color underneath my glitter. I just think it helps the glitter. Because you put it, I just don't like it on a clear acrylic. That's just me. It's a personal preference. So I used a very pale pink color. Again, I'm using my palette and my brush, and we'll do 2 very thin layers, curing in between for 60 seconds for both layer. And then once we get done with this, then we'll move on to the second portion of this manicure, which is the bling and decorating these really pretty nails up. All right, I sped this up, and it's going too slow, so I apologize for that. I'm still kind of working on this voiceover thing. Okay, so that is done, and we're doing the second layer of the pink real quick. It shouldn't take too long. We'll get that done. Get those back into the lamp, and I'm using a Melody Susie lamp. I really do like it. Especially since I don't do a full set of hand nails at the same time. I just slide them in and out on that tray. It works great for me. And so it's right there and easy to use. So what we're going to do next on these purple nails is I'm going to put a thin coat of top coat on these, of no wipe top coat. It doesn't need to be a real thick coat because we have a second coat we're going to put on here in a little bit. So it can be a very thin coat. But you want to make sure you cover the entire nail and that your nail is smooth and level. Sometimes after putting top coat on, I've been known to turn my palette over and just hold my nails upside down for about 10 to 15 seconds just to let that top coat level out. So we're going to pop these into the lamp for 60 seconds. Now, while those are doing that, what I'm going to do is a thin layer of base coat on the pink nails, I'm sorry. And the reason I'm doing this is because the glitter will stick really well to the base coat. And so after I've got that thin layer of base coat, I'm just going to take a little tool and dump a whole bunch of glitter all over that nail and get it all over the sides, the top. And when I think I've got it on there, I'm just going to take a brush handle or some other tool and just knock it a few times to knock off any loose glitter that's not stuck. We're going to do that to the other nail as well. Again, it doesn't have to be a very thick layer of base coat because that's not going to be your final layer of anything, and you're just using it to stick the glitter to the nail. And by curing it, it'll help it stick, obviously, even more. So we're going to pop those into the lamp for 60 seconds. And while that's happening, we are going to come back to the purple nails. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to chrome all 3 of these nails. Now I have from Maniology reflective chrome, I think it's what it's called, or retro chrome. And it just gives you that really pretty donut glaze effect on that. So all 3 of these nails I'm going to chrome. I'm using the eyeshadow technique with the brush, just dabbing it on there and then rubbing it in, turning the applicator over and smoothing that chrome in some more. And then when I'm done with all 3 of those, what I will do is, in order to get any excess chrome that may not have stuck, if I had too much on there or whatever, I'm going to grab a lint-free wipe, and then I'm just going to wipe those 3 nails with that lint-free wipe. Once all 3 of those are wiped off, I'm going to go in and top coat all 3 of those with their final top coat. And again, I find it's very helpful after you put the top coat on just to turn your nails over for 10 to 15 seconds and let that top coat level out a little bit so you don't get bulges on the side or something like that if you wait too long, you know. So that's one of those things that I do. Get those done. And I like to use my tweezers to put my nails back onto my nail plate. I am less likely to touch the nail that way if I'm using those tweezers, and that way I don't have a lot of smudges and I'm not getting a bunch of gel polish on my skin as well. Excuse me. Have this horrible cough that everybody in town has. So popping those back in. And then I'm going to take the gold ones out, and I'm going to put I'm going to put a layer of top coat on these, a little bit thicker, because I want to make sure I encapsulate all that glitter. I don't want to have any of that glitter sticking out as much as possible. So we're going to encapsulate all of that with a layer of top coat. Not really thick, but not super thin either. So we want to make sure we get all of the edges and all the sides on those. And then we're going to pop those back into the lamp for 60 seconds as well. So while the gold ones are curing again, I'm going to take a little bit of Madam Glam Art Gel, which I do love and will probably still keep getting because it doesn't touch my skin and it's not gel. And I use this as art glue, rhinestone glue. And I take my little dotting pin, get a little bit of that and put it right there on the edge of the pinky nail, where I'm going to put a flat-backed pearl that I got from Amazon or Temu, I can't remember which. And then I'm going to take a liner brush, and I'm going to draw just a couple little lines, one from each side of that pearl around the edge of the nail, so I can put on some of these caviar AB or crystal beads. I think I do 3 on each side of that pearl. And getting them on there sometimes is a trick because they got a little bit of static and they want to stick to each other and stick to everything. But they're really pretty, and they add just a nice little touch of bling, and they're really small, so it doesn't look like you're, touting a whole bunch of stuff on your nails. They're really dainty, so I really like that. Once I get those on there, because this has already been top coated, I can pop this back into the lamp and cure it for 60 seconds and it will be done. If you want to, you could always top coat it again and push your top coat right up to those crystals just to give it a little bit more security if you're worried about them popping off. All right, now back to the gold ones. And what we're going to do with both of these is I'm going to buff and wipe. And so I'm using a very, very fine buffing block there. I think it's a 240 grit. The other side may be a 200. So both sides are pretty fine. I like to start with the 240. And then if there's a real rough spot, I'll go back in with the 200. Once I've done that, wipe them off with a lint-free wipe. And then go back in with the final coat, top coat for this particular nail right here. And stick it back into the lamp for 60 seconds. So the second gold one, I'm going to do basically the same thing. I'm going to buff and wipe. But after I've buffed and wiped, instead of going immediately to the top coat, I'm going to go back in with the art gel. And that way I can get some of the bling that I want. I'm going to use some more of those pearls, and I'm also going to use some gold charms that I got from Temu, some little seashells, and some starfish. And we're going to put those just kind of randomly on the nail wherever it works good or however you like it. I only use short and extra short coffin and almond nails, so I don't have as much real estate as some ladies do when they do their nails, or people. So I have to keep it pretty, I don't use a whole lot. I try to keep it dainty, or at least not gaudy is what I would call. But I think I ended up putting like 3 pearls and 2 gold charms on the beach nail, for lack of a better term. And so it's just whatever works for you, whatever you like. I use that little grease pen again to pick them up and put them in place. Once I've got all of the bling and charms in place where I want them, I'll go ahead and pop that back into the lamp for 60 seconds to set that gel. And so that will take care of that as far as for the bling goes. So look at that other pearl back on there. There we go. Once I want it, once I like where it's at, go ahead and put it in the lamp. All right, so now it's done, and I'm going to go in with a top coat. And you can put the top coat over the gold charms, and I recommend you do. It helps keep them in place, and it also helps keep them from tarnishing. I don't put it over my pearls. You don't have to, but you can take the brush and push it right up to the edge of those to give them a little bit more, something more solid that kind of sticks them to the nail. And then pop it back in for another 60 seconds, and you're done. And so here is the final set. My girls like these so much that I had to do a set for each of them. And so I've done this set 3 times now. And I'm thinking about maybe offering sets like this on Etsy. Again, I like to do short to extra short nails. I like to do classic, dainty type nails. So if that's something you might be interested in, shoot me a message and let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.